Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to team meeting number 64. In this team meeting, we'll be discussing. We'll be discussing SSG. We have some new classes which are starting, and we are. We have a question for you. I think Rob, you should take that one about getting your classes complete.
Okay. Can you read out the question for me?
It's the first statement on the agenda. Get your classes complete. We are partnering with a four-year college. They will
Correct. Who will not? The four-year college who will not be named. It's really exciting. Dan and I have been last week spending a bunch of time creating the onboarding for a bunch of faculty from this educational institution, and it's a NEASC, New England Association of Schools and Colleges, accredited school, and we're going to be able to offer all of our classes to both their students and to other students worldwide, and this college, this institution, is going to be able to certify and also help us transfer the credits to other places. It's really, really exciting. And what we really want is to give them as many courses as possible, and it's a great opportunity for us. So please make sure that you finish up your classes and submit them to Dan, and we'll review them and put them up on the catalog. Again, this is a very big deal. We're going to be doing a lot of this. Institution has its own marketing department. It's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to be definitely in the mix, and in the mix for both the summer and the fall. So get your classes completed, and we're looking forward to announcing the name probably after our initial meeting on Monday. Okay, great.
So that's
Dan,
Monday or next week Monday?
Next week Monday.
A week from today.
Yep, a week from today. Maybe sooner, but probably we'll wait till to do that at the team meeting. So get your courses done. And don't come to the northeast of North America because there is some nasty colds going around in June. Everybody's getting it, including me. So don't get a cold. Dan Kirk, do you want to go over, or do we want to talk about? Let's talk about SSG first, Daniel.
Yeah, well, for SSG, we've been doing some interesting stuff. This week, I talked to almost all the mentors who are going to be who've signed up for the list, which were very interesting talks. I'd love to be able to share all the detail, all the notes that I made, but some of these things we're not allowed to share. Some very, very, very interesting people who are going to help us out. I'm quite excited about that. We call them it's in the Lean Startup methodology. You call them customer development interviews. So we talk to them as if they're a customer, asking what their problems are, what their pain points are. And then we fill in all the details. We got some very interesting feedback on what they want to achieve. So what they want to achieve with the startups that they're working with, and with whatever students they have in there as a mentorship. Also, a lot of interesting information about how they think that they're going to interact with whoever is going to be whoever they're mentoring, their mentees, I think it's called that. So some very cool things. And I'm going to write up a blog post about that. Anything that I can share, I'll write a blog post about that, so then you'll get to read it all there.
Yeah, I think you can. Do you want to share at all the, sort of like a broad stroke of your interviews? Because some of the stuff there is fascinating and in some ways counterintuitive to what we were expecting. But of course, veto that if you do not want to.
Oh no, absolutely no. I can share a broad stroke. Basically, from the 9 people that I interviewed, only one of them said wanted to have any type of cash up front. So they wanted, most of them were for a lot of them wanted to accept equity in a startup. But many of them didn't even talk about equity, or some of them didn't even talk about equity because they didn't expect to get anything from the startup. They expected to get anything after the startup has become successful, if you understand what I mean. So either they work with investors to help startups get money, and they get paid by investors, or there's lots of different methods in which mentors can earn money. Which doesn't involve the startup giving the money, which I thought was fascinating. It's something that I totally didn't expect. Yeah, and let's see. I have another quite interesting one. Of course, we have mentors of all ages. Sadly, we didn't get any female mentors signing up, which I thought was a shame. So if you're a female mentor and you think you should sign up for this program, then please do. We think it would be fantastic to have you on board. Most of them were extremely experienced. Some of them had exited or had startups in the past, exited them reasonably successful, so they could also be classed as investors. Let's see. And one thing that I got, I'm not sure if I can share the name, but I attribute it to you, absolutely, whoever you named this person there. Was the one question that he asks a startup before he was to accept them to come and work for them is, what are the constraints on your business which stop it from being infinitely profitable instantly? So I thought that was a fantastic question, actually. That really gets to the heart of the matter. If you're in a startup, and it's also for a faculty member, for anybody actually, what are the constraints that are holding you back to becoming a successful faculty member, for example, or startup entrepreneur? It's a really, really good.
Yeah, it's really interesting that both the SSG work and the faculty work and the coursework that we're doing is so similar in terms of constraints around network effects and sort of initial how do people recruit and how are people judged in terms of performance for their classes. So yeah, the SSG is kind of like a modification of what we're already doing with faculty in terms of disintermediation and all of that. Cool beans, cool stuff. Dan, do you want to go over the classes that are coming up available?
Yeah, sure. So critical thinking, we've announced it the past few weeks. An introduction to reasoning taught by Professor Ken Chung is beginning today. Again, this would be a sort of humanities philosophy course in that sort of zone of a traditional college department. Introduction to Online Learning for Students by Professor Grover also begins today. This is something for folks who would like to learn online but haven't done so they might need to acquire new techniques or approaches or just reorganize, sort of how you approach and connect with a course, in that you're not sitting at necessarily a session in a classroom on a weekly basis. We also just approved and are moving, both approved and have already approved and are moving forward with a few classes. One of the really exciting courses that we're thinking is going to have a solid amount of interest is the History of the CIA course taught by Professor Jeff Morley. That course was just approved on Friday, and there's going to be lots of videos, a great website sort of backbone to it, and the discussions and readings are unique in that Professor Morley has had a lot of access to studying the CIA and writing about the CIA and being on TV speaking about the CIA. So the research that he's done on the front end of this course is really impressive, and it's a really great opportunity for folks interested in political science and history to engage with somebody so expert in their field.
Yeah.
An advanced online teaching strategies course, which would be great for anybody in an education program or a current instructor at any level looking to gain skills to teach online That's one of our newest courses that was created using our template, which seemed to work out really well. So we're going to stick with that approach to setting faculty up with an outline of a template that they can populate rather than having to build from scratch. If they want to build from scratch, then absolutely go for that way too. And that's taught by Dr. Bruce Johnson, and that looks, again, really great. He worked really hard and really quickly to get that finished, and he's a very enthusiastic member of our community, so I think it looks great. It would be a 3-credit complement or supplement to Linda Kaiser's courses, which are more clinic-style crash courses on a 2-week basis. This is a full 12-week course, again, for folks in an education program or even as a current teacher looking for continuing education / professional development credits. And another class we've been looking forward to, this is definitely a political science course, is a course that examines the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, taught by Professor Ferrero. He's been a great ally to Oplerno as he's built this course, and he's helped us a lot with both our internal approaches and to create a really nice course for students. So that's going to begin on September 14th. We are finishing up polishing the description and price and class size and all that with him, and so that should be listed within a day or two with the full details.
Let me just chime in about Chris Ferrero. He is, like Jeff Morley, a real expert in the field. He spent a bunch of time in various government agencies working on all kinds of issues related to the Israel-Palestinian conflict, speaks several of the languages in that area, and any political science department would be lucky to have him. He's currently doing some as a visiting professor at, and I'm spacing the name of the university. But Chris is amazing, and if you have any interest in Middle Eastern politics, you should take that class. You'll be really impressed with it, because you're dealing with someone who has, again, in-depth knowledge of that area, both from a geopolitical standpoint, an analyst standpoint, and someone who also, most importantly, again, speaks the languages in that area. So check out the Israel-Palestinian conflict class and sign up for it. And that's one of the great things. Sorry, go ahead, Daniel. That's one of the really great things about Oplerno, is that we can bring in experts from outside to take classes who are scholar practitioners. And Chris's field is a bit, in terms of what he does, is slightly obscure. And the fact that we can offer him this platform to reach people from all over the world is, again, really, really exciting. So those are the classes that are up for review. Do we have any questions from the audience? Questions from our faculty?
Well, we have currently Dr. Bruce Johnson is watching, so I don't think he has any questions. He's pretty much knows where to find us.
Okay. Let's just, before we close up, remember to subscribe to the Oplerno faculty Slack channel. We've got a bunch of you guys are subscribed to that, but that's a great way to interact and talk with us. We love Slack. It's really doing a wonderful job for us. And yeah, sign up for that. And any other little announcements?
Well, well, it's not an announcement. It's when we started using Slack, I thought the name was really counter, I guess, intuitive. It's like, oh, Slack, like a place to do nothing and slack off. In fact, it's been the most efficient way for us to communicate, both even more efficient than our previous solution in Podio, which was very efficient, with both our team and with individual members of the team and of the faculty. So although it sounds like something that, like, oh yeah, you just go in Slack and do nothing, it's actually quite the opposite, and it's amazingly convenient, and it breaks down in a completely appropriate way, the formality of email. It's more of a, I don't know, it's just like popping by somebody's office and asking them a quick question rather than having to wait for a reply for, a day or two, depending on how busy folks are. It allows you to just shoot a question to anybody or to the whole group or to individuals, and you can kind of go back and forth much more quickly and with the informality of a typical conversation. So your answers are quick, they're direct, and the questions don't have to be composed too formally. So I'm a complete convert, and the name threw me, but it shouldn't throw you if it is.
Yeah, well, I think now it's one of the unicorn companies. So they a lot of the world, a lot of the really big companies are using it for their internal communication, and I think it's worth like $1 billion, $2 billion. I don't know. It didn't exist 2 years ago. Now it's $1 billion company. So
that's awesome. All right, I think that's it for this morning's team meeting. We'll see you guys next week. Remember to get your courses completed so that we can list them with our new partner, that for your college, whose name will not be mentioned until we do the press release. So get that done. And again, if you have any questions, shoot them to us. And we're always available on Slack or on email. So take care, and we'll see you online.
See you online.